One of the 6 core values of the City of Tuscaloosa is shared responsibility. And what we mean by that is that everyone has a responsibility to our city to make it efficient and effective. Recently, this was demonstrated in a great way at the Ed Love Water Treatment Plant. Stephen Daly, who's in charge of our process operations throughout the city, came up with a way to save our city nearly $325,000. This was done by utilizing the men at the plant, their ingenuity, their teamwork, and most importantly, their love for our city.
Well, I guess the story today is the fact that we've saved quite a bit of money by being internally resourceful and self-sufficient. We've replaced outside help with internal help, figured ways to do things ourselves, and it's all part of a big paradigm shift that we're experiencing within the Water and Sewer Department, largely due to our new manager over the process assets in our department, Stephen Daly, who's brought this paradigm shift, identifying things we can improve, identifying things we can do that we've normally counted on other folks to do, and in the process, we're becoming more of a team because everybody's having to be relying on one another. We have to utilize each other as a means to figure things out where there's not a map or an easy way to get to it. We've got a team building effort now. Beyond this story, this particular story, there's the bigger picture of many, many other opportunities that Stephen and his staff are looking at to save the city and our department a great deal of money and make us more effective and efficient and in the long run, basically a more reliable utility for our citizens.
During routine maintenance at the Ed Love filter plant, we discovered we had leaking filter valves. These valves are the valves that control the water flow through the filters and into the clear well, which goes into the distribution system of the city. Typically, a standard operating procedure when you make such a discovery to call in contractors, have them give you a quote, look it over, and that's what we did. And we set a budget based on the quote. But as I started digging into the quotes and asking for justification of the cost, I couldn't figure out how to justify it, and I felt like we could do it in-house if we looked into it. And we started looking at the project and talking with my staff. I mentioned how much it was going to cost. They were kind of astounded. So we went down in the pipe gallery and looked it over to see if we could figure out why in the world it would cost so much. And as I talked to them, I realized that they had skill sets that we could utilize to perform the task at hand. The valves that we were looking at, the valves in question are 16-inch butterfly valves. They're cast iron. They weigh about 400 pounds each. The actuator, when it's attached to it, it weighs about 400 pounds. This is actually a motor that drives and positions the valve and opens and closes it. The pipe gallery is located below the ground level. It's limited access and limited mobility. There's low clearances and it's cramped spaces. And work in that environment was going to be difficult to get the people and equipment we needed in and around the valves and not step on each other. Also, when you remove the valves, water was leaking into it and there wasn't much space. The water would fill up quickly, so the guys had to do it fast. What we did to replace the valves is the first step was to remove all the old bolts and replace them with new bolts. And we usually did that the day before. And the day of the valve change, we would locate a hoist overhead and over the valves, and we would put bracing underneath the pipes and a floor jack. We would unbolt the old valve and jack it up while we lifted it. Then we would lower the new valve into place. We had to spread the pipes out to some extent to install the gaskets again. And we put the bolts and gaskets back in and reassemble. One of the unexpected consequences is I noticed the employers becoming happier and more enthusiastic. They're very enthusiastic about the job and eager to do it and get it done and show they can do it. I'm very proud of my staff for the accomplishment they did here on behalf of the city and the pride they took in doing it. And one of the things I really was impressed with was their ability to adapt and find shortcuts, and they became more and more resourceful and creative as it went on. As a manager and an employee of the city, I feel like it's important for us as managers to safeguard the city's money. It's hard to come by, it's a rare resource, everybody's struggling, and in my mind, we have a responsibility to be as most efficient as we can with the money and resources we have.
Stephen's done a big job of pulling his folks together, using his past experiences, using their knowledge and experience to create a team atmosphere out there that is developing into one of the most cost-effective and efficient operations that I've ever seen in a utility.
Stephen Daly and his team exemplifies what is best about our city. They saw a challenge and they saw an opportunity to save the taxpayers hundreds of thousands of dollars. I commend Stephen and our entire team at the Ed Love Water Treatment Plant on their success. And please know this, that same type of spirit exists across our city. So in the weeks, months, and years ahead, your city is going to make the most efficient use of your tax dollars.